The case for Edi Rama's resignation. How 12 years of power dismantled Albania's promise. 12 years ago, Edi Rama rose to power with the promise of transforming Albania into a modern European democracy, transparent, efficient, and open to the world. What followed instead was the systematic corrosion of its democratic institutions, the entrenchment of corruption, and the slow exodus of hundreds of thousands of Albanians who lost faith in a future at home. Today, Albania stands not as a European success story, but as a case study of how one man's centralized rule can hollow out an entire state under the illusion of progress. 1. The illusion of reform. When Rama took office in 2013, his message was hope, the renaissance of a corrupt post-transition Albania. The promise of a new era of justice reforms, meritocracy, and EU integration resonated with millions. Yet the so-called justice reform, launched in 2016 with Western support, became a double-edged sword. While dozens of judges and prosecutors were dismissed, the real beneficiaries were Rama's political allies. New institutions like SPAC and the National Bureau of Investigation were publicly promoted as independent, yet in practice, they have selectively pursued opposition figures while avoiding cases tied to Rama's inner circle. 2. The construction scandals. Rama's government oversaw one of the largest urban transformation projects in the Balkans. But behind the glass facades and marble boulevards of Tirana lies a mountain of corruption. The incinerator scandal exposed a multi-million-euro network involving 3 major waste management plants, in Elbasan, Fier, and Tirana. The contracts, worth over 430 million euros, were awarded without proper competition. Former officials like Lefter Koka and Alki Blako were arrested, but the real political responsibility, the ministers and prime minister who approved the concessions, remains untouched. The Anaza Mata affair revealed falsified documents and offshore companies linked to government contracts for road construction, with millions funneled through phantom firms. Air Albania Airport in Kukës and the Port of Durrës, projects celebrated as strategic investments, have been mired in opaque deals. With foreign developers, particularly from the United Arab Emirates, raising questions of money laundering and favoritism. 3. The capture of the state. Over time, Rama has transformed Albania into a model of controlled democracy. Elections occur, but the state serves the party. The Socialist Party controls public administration, the police, and the judiciary through patronage. Jobs and education, health, and public institutions are distributed through party loyalty, not merit. A leaked Socialist Party database in 2021 confirmed that the government maintained a secret registry of citizens, marked by political affiliation to influence elections, a violation of privacy and democratic norms. 4. The 2021 and 2023 election manipulations. EU and OSCE observers reported serious irregularities in both national and local elections, including misuse of public resources and intimidation of voters. Criminal gangs linked to drug trafficking were reportedly used to secure votes in key regions like Durrës, Elbasan, and Shkodër. Former police officials and journalists exposed networks of influence where narcotics traffickers funded campaigns in exchange for political protection. Yet no senior official has ever faced trial. 5. The drug economy. Under Rama's watch, Albania has become Europe's largest cannabis producer and a key transit hub for cocaine from South America. While the government claims success in fighting trafficking, multiple reports by Europol and the DA point to continued infiltration of law enforcement and political protection for criminal groups. The result is a dual reality: official anti-drug campaigns for the public eye, and thriving narco networks operating with political cover behind the scenes. 6. The exodus of Albanians. Since 2013, more than 700,000 Albanians, nearly 1/4 of the population, have emigrated, the highest rate in Europe. Doctors, teachers, engineers, and young professionals are leaving in despair. Unemployment, low wages, and lack of trust in institutions have created an irreversible brain drain. Despite billions in EU aid, living standards remain stagnant. Tirana's skyline has grown, but poverty in the countryside has deepened. 7. Media control and propaganda. Freedom House and Reporters Without Borders have repeatedly ranked Albania among the lowest in Europe for media freedom. Independent journalists face intimidation and government lawsuits. Major TV channels are owned by businessmen tied to government contracts. The government's propaganda machine, led by taxpayer-funded advertising and a network of online portals, projects an image of success while silencing criticism. Rama's own communication style, through hours-long monologues and digital propaganda platforms, has replaced press conferences with spectacle. 8. Foreign policy for personal power. Rama's foreign policy, once hailed as pragmatic, has increasingly served his personal image rather than national interest. His alliance with Aleksandar Vučić through the Open Balkan Initiative alienated Kosovo and weakened Albania's regional position. His close ties with Arab investors and Turkish conglomerates have brought billions in opaque investments, often through concessions that bypass parliamentary approval. Meanwhile, relations with the EU have stagnated. Despite formal accession talks, Brussels remains concerned about rule of law and corruption, both unresolved under Rama's Rule. 9. The erosion of trust. Edi Rama's greatest failure is not a single scandal, but the erosion of moral trust between government and people. His leadership style, centralized, theatrical, intolerant of dissent, has created a climate of fear and cynicism. The young no longer believe in elections. Civil society is intimidated. The justice system is weaponized. What was once a fragile democracy is now an electoral autocracy, dressed in European language but Balkan in reality. 10. Why he must go. Rama's departure is not a partisan demand, it is a democratic necessity. Albania cannot renew itself under a man who has turned power into a personal business. 12 years of unbroken rule have bred complacency, corruption, and arrogance. His continued presence blocks generational change, economic justice, and genuine European integration. Albania deserves institutions, not idols. It deserves accountability, not arrogance. Rama's exit would not solve every problem, but it would mark the rebirth of hope that truth, not loyalty, can again matter in this country.